Right, first things first, given the slab a quick brush, and the first question is, do I have enough wood? So I'm going to lay it out first. Let's have a look. So the answer is yes, I do have enough wood. There are a couple of bits that need to be chopped down a little bit, and when I inspect the bits of wood, if I find any that look like they're a little bit rotten, then I've got a few spare bits here, I've got another one here, and also I've got this pile here. So what I'm going to use is these to go in there like that. I think they're called noggins. Anyway, I will just do that to give the whole thing a little bit more strength and rigidity when I make it. Right, change of plan. Even though the original boards were about 40-ish separate apart, the synthetic boards say that I need about 30 centimeters between each board or each joist, so I'm going to put an extra one in, and because I've got plenty of wood here, I think I'll be able to make something up, so I'm going to go ahead with that. Right, I'm going to start with these end bits, and I'm going to make them, 4 of them, all the same length. Put the tools out again, favourite chop saw. Right, with the exception of this front one, which needs a bit of chopping on both sides, it's done. So these 2 bits have got a bit of rot in the end, so obviously I will chop that end off and go from there. Right, favourite chop saw has done its work. What I've done is I've screwed the 4 or the 2 end boards together with the centre joists as well. I've taken the opportunity to put some wood preserver on the ends where there's new wood exposed, so obviously in 2 halves. So what I'm going to do now is space out the 4 boards in the middle equally and then screw them together. So more or less like this. Obviously I will join those 2 bits and cut them to the right length, and that's about it. Need to do some chopping now. Job done. So now what I'm going to do is position the frame and use my final 2 screws to screw it together. Right, I think it's done for now. What I've done is I've lined up the front edge here with the edge of the concrete, so when I put the fascia on of the decking, that will fit nicely. I put a little bit of a spacer in the middle here, partly to give it some air space so it doesn't rot so quickly, but secondly to make sure that it lines up perfectly on the concrete here. So there's a little gap along here as well, which you won't see because the decking will go up to the edge here, and that's pretty much it. I haven't ordered the decking yet, so the only thing that's left to do is to put this spare piece of hardboard on here so that we can use the summer house until the decking arrives. Right, the maximum width between each one of these joists for the boards, decking boards I've selected, is 30 centimeters, and mine are about 36, which means I need to put in another horizontal joist between each one, so I need to move all of the 4 center ones around. I've got enough wood here, right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw it together using this baton so it doesn't move, and same goes for this side. So I need to do a little bit of cutting and a bit of screwing and unscrewing, and let's get on with that. Right, that is 2 extra batons or extra joists made from offcuts and screwed together. Now just need to unscrew these and screw it all back together. Right, it's 4:30, it's getting dark, and I've repositioned 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is not screwed in yet. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side. Again, this one here is not screwed in yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw another joist onto the back of this one, because when I fit the decking, I'm going to have a front lip on the front, so I'm going to need a little bit wider joist on this side. So what I'm going to do is use these from the previous decking project and screw them on. Right, half an hour later, even darker, job is done. And as you can see, I put an extra width of wood along here, so that will support the edge bracket, and then that one is now screwed in as well, and the two halves of the decking or the joists are screwed back together as well. So all we need now to do is to order the decking. Well, the new decking boards have been delivered. They look pretty good. So we've got edging boards here on the corners, and these are reversible boards, obviously, so either the groove side or the pattern side. We were thinking that we'd go with the groove side, but actually I quite like the pattern side, so we'll need to make a decision probably tomorrow. So pretty cool. Right, so today is the day I'm going to start installing the decking. The distance here is 182, and I have 4-meter boards. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got 22 boards from EnviroBuild. These are their bottom of the range boards. However, this is obviously a small area. It's outside our summer house. It's not going to get a huge amount of use, so or not too much wear, not heavy footfall, so I think it should be okay. Probably we're going to go with the grooved side rather than the wood pattern side. These boards are uncapped, so that means they don't have as much UV protection as the capped boards. However, I think the grooved side gives better UV protection, so they're going to fade less than the textured side. Nevertheless, the textured side does look pretty good. And then we've got these corner edging things as well, which will go on the side, and I plan to mitre those as well. So first job, to cut a bunch of the 4-meter boards into 2-meter boards using that. Right, I've laid half of it out in the textured board, or the wood effect, and the other half in the grooved. I prefer this side. I had my design consultant Emily out, and she also prefers this side. We know that it's perhaps not quite as in terms of sun, it's probably going to fade more over time, but yeah, I think we're going this way. So anyway, easy to work with. What I'm going to do is obviously line these up a little bit, and then start the fitment with one of the edge boards, one of these corner edge boards, also of course, which I have to cut down to 2 meters. So I'll start that now, and then line them up, and then start screwing them down. I have a few boxes of goodies in here, some hidden fasteners, some coloured screws if I need them, and also the the starting clips, which you just put on one side. So anyway, first thing to do, cut this down, line all this up. So what I decided to do is to move the frame slightly so that on this side, that the edge board, which is in here, perfectly lines up with the corner, oops, of the concrete base, and then this will go on there. And the edge will go on there like that, and then the two grooves will join up. Obviously I'm going to have to chop obviously I'm going to have to chop this board down lengthwise to make sure that it just fits perfectly into this gap here, between the edge board, the corner board, and here. So first things first, I'm going to fit this one. So the edge board is on. What I'm trying to do now is cut one of these boards longitudinally. Need to measure that obviously pretty carefully, and then that will be the edge board. So I clamped this up, so you couldn't cut right from the end, so what I did is I started in the middle, chop the middle bit out, and now I can move the clamps so I can chop the last bits off. Very easy to work with the circular saw. So what I need to do is to put these starter clips on the bottom of the edge board. Now obviously, because I've cut it off here, it doesn't have a groove in it like this one does. So what I've done is I've marked out some marks here, and I'm just going to drill some holes in there so that this can fit in my little custom made groove. Right, board is laid out. There's just I've marked pen marks on the wood, so just in case they move, should be okay. So I'm just going to flip this up like this and lift it up. So the kit came with some screws and this impact driver tool, so screw them in. Well, that worked perfectly, not a screw hole to be seen. So now I'll put the clip on the top and hopefully speed up a bit from here.